Yo, people, welcome back to DR Transfers. You already know what time it is. I am your host, to the most and never coast, Matisse, back in the building. Finally, we are over all of the foot golf comments. I'm glad that you guys are moving on. Look, the series is done for now. The redemption arc is going to be coming soon. But listen, let's get into the news. It's a pleasure, as always, to be on. The Daily Express, they start with Tottenham, who are willing to let, this is no surprise to anybody, Ndombele leave at a cut price, despite him being, because he's out of Antonio Conte's plans. Now, listen, this is of no surprise. This is a player that is immensely talented. When he came to Tottenham, he was definitely a player that a lot of big clubs were coming after or going after. They were saying, right, this is a skillful midfielder that can take players on. He's strong. He's creative. He's got good ball carrying skills. He's got an eye for a pass, even an eye for a shot as well. But is he professional? Is he going to constantly give you the output, the pressing, the energy? And it seems he's not. You know, he's clearly, I mean, this is the kind of player where I would say is the complete opposite of a Conte type player. You have to be willing to die for Conte. In preseason, in training, this guy is going to run you through the trenches, and you are going to have to stand up and be counted for constantly. And if you can't handle the rigorous schedule of Conte, you may as well dip, because this man will have you passing out in the heat, dying. And from every Tottenham fan that I speak to, they say, listen, he's working these players constantly. He's got them literally passing out. He's got them doing constant drills. And they're one team where, you know, fitness-wise, at the start of the season, they're going to be ready. So Ndombele doesn't really fit into that mold. He doesn't really fit into that. And it's kind of strange, because when you look at the player from a physical standpoint, you think, you know what? If he knuckles down and he really works hard, he's got all the talent in the world, all the technical ability, he actually could be a star. You know, he could be one of those midfielders that we talk about in that France national team that actually go on to do really well. But I don't know. I think he's been so up and down, so inconsistent. And it looks like I said, he's going to be available for a cut price. I don't know where he's going to go. When he was at Lyon, everybody was talking about him. He was so talented. Everybody was so excited. But that hype has kind of gone now. He had a loan spell last season. Obviously, he came up against West Ham in the Europa League. They were knocked out in the end. So, you know, this is a player that maybe his career could still be revived. I don't think he's too old to say that he's completely done, but he does need to find a new club for sure, and just be part of something where he's actually important. Because in this Conte midfield, where they've just brought in Bentancur, they've just brought in Basuma, they've already got Højbjerg, there really is just no space. And it's quite damning of Ndombele that he's not involved, because we all know that Tottenham are looking for that creative attacking midfielder. He could have been that guy, but clearly he's not part of the plans. They've been linked with Eriksen, with Maddison, like we said. So it's a little bit disappointing for him, but it's not really surprising. We already knew that he wasn't part of the plan, so it is what it is. Somebody says in the comments that Conte is going to quit Spurs by March. I don't know. I mean, I was always of the belief that, yeah, he could just walk away from Tottenham if things are not going to plan, if they're not backing him, because we know what Conte is like. He will just walk away. Like, Conte will not sit there and tolerate an unambitious club that don't want to strive for the trophies. He will just walk away. He won't put his record on the line. We saw that with Inter Milan when they started selling their key assets. You know, last summer he just decided, listen, I'm gone. But to be fair, they made Champions League. They have backed him to a degree. Maybe he wants more. I don't know. I don't know what his remit was in terms of his targets, but he's been backed to a certain extent this summer. So I think he's gonna try and stick it out. You know, there's only so many times as well you can keep hopping from club to club to club. What club would he really go to next? You wouldn't really say he's in the mold of going to a Real Madrid or a Barcelona, just because of the type of manager he is, maybe in the style. Those managers tend to operate under massive structures of Perez, and they don't get so much control to just buy whoever they want. So they tend to go for more these days, your calmer managers, maybe your Zidanes, your Xavis, your Carlos. So yeah, I don't really see too many more places for him to hop off to. But we shall see. Let's see some more comments before. I've seen the Firmino one. We're definitely going to talk about Firmino. Some people saying that he's not very good. Listen, he was very good at Lyon. Do I think that Conte will win a trophy with Spurs? I think, to be honest, with what I'm seeing, the way they're building their squad, I mean, their front three is already dangerous. So it was all about getting the midfield sorted and getting the defense sorted. I think they could win a cup for sure. I know it's Spursy to not do so. It's Spursy to buckle at the last hurdle, but they do have a manager that is renowned for getting over the line and getting trophies under his belt. So it kind of counterbalances a little bit. I do think they have the potential to win a cup. However, I am praying that they just obviously don't, because we want to continue to enjoy the drought. Anthony says with the super chat, Mason Mount should come to Manchester City as a better club. That move would make no sense, sir. Absolutely no sense whatsoever. All right, let's get into the next story. Manchester United have identified Savic from Lazio, the midfielder, Serbian midfielder, as an alternative plan to Frankie de Jong. We spoke about this a little bit yesterday. They need an alternative to Frankie de Jong. They've been going along this goose chase of a story with Frankie de Jong for months, it feels like. And I'm sure Manchester United fans have got the chalk on the wall, counting the days, just tallying them up constantly. They must be sick of it by now. So if Frankie de Jong continues to reject the chance to move to Manchester United. Also, what do you mean continue to reject? He's already rejected. So what do you mean if he continues to reject? Are you trying to change his mind? What's going on here? What? No means no. How many times you got to be rejected? Do you know what I mean? It's crazy. So if they haven't even moved on yet, but they're saying if Manchester United will not sign Savic as Irwin. Well, I don't know. Listen, this is the report. I don't know whether they'll go for him. They're slightly different players. I don't think de Jong and Savic are really the same player. So it's a weird alternative to have, in my opinion. But we'll have to see what happens. Juventus have had a 20 million offer for Roberto Firmino rejected as well. This is on Twitter. This is something that you were alluding to in the comments. I think I just seen it in a comment way up in the chat. Yeah, Firmino's going nowhere. Listen, when it comes down to Firmino, I don't think he's going anywhere either. I think when you've got rid of Mane, you've allowed Mane to go. You've already got new faces through the door in Nunes. You've got Diaz, who's still relatively new. You don't want to rip up all of that front three at once with the Firmino, Salah, and Mane. I think it's good to just do one at a time. Salah's obviously signed an extension. Is Firmino's contract running out in the summer? I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments if that is correct. I'm pretty sure I might be along the right lines there. If it is, then maybe he doesn't sign a new deal, and maybe, as he falls down the pecking order, you go from there and you continue to change your attack. But I don't think he's a player that Klopp would want to let go of. He knows the system, very good down the middle. His link-up play, like you said in the comments there, is absolutely superb. Maybe sometimes underrated, as a forward, because maybe he doesn't get enough goals for some people. But in terms of what Liverpool needed him to do when he was starting in the middle of that front three, he did his job. Very technically secure. And we have to remember as well, I think a lot of people forget this, when Firmino joined from Hoffenheim, he was a central attacking midfielder. He wasn't a striker. So he's really just playing his position as that false nine. That's what he was always meant to do. Then, obviously, he was moved further forward by Klopp. But his role, regardless of where you pinpoint someone on a formation, his role was to create chances, was to link up the midfield with the attack in a different way to Coutinho would have, and to facilitate the goals for Salah, for Mane. And they got their goals. So, it's not always necessary for the person that plays down the middle to actually get the goals. It depends on what the plan is. Can't take him seriously after the foot golf. Well, that hopefully that mindset will change for you very soon. I plan a redemption arc, as I keep saying, but let's talk in more action from my part. Let's see. Firmino needs to be utilized more. He's so important to our attack. We lost that bit of flair when he got injured. I mean, you guys did start to use Jota in that role, and then people started to tell me, and I saw it with my own eyes, to be fair, Jota, as much as he does get goals and he is very clinical, and you would say that he's been a success 100% at Liverpool since joining from Wolves, he's brought goals into the team, really important goals as well. His link-up play certainly isn't of the level of Firmino, and he does turn over the ball sometimes a bit easily. Maybe you wouldn't say he's a hold-up. He's a different type of striker, not a hold-up, not a link-up striker, not a false nine. So, yeah, I can see why there would be some frustration, but I guess it's just an alternative. It's a different type of player. It's unfair to make the comparison potentially. But moving on, this one's an interesting one, and it's a player that I haven't heard about in a very, very long time, and that's Julian Draxler. And apparently Newcastle are planning a 13 million offer to PSG for the 28-year-old German playmaker. Now, listen, I remember Julian Draxler when he was at Schalke. Very, very, very talented player. Someone that everybody was taking a look at in terms of Arsenal were looking at him. Some other clubs were looking at him as well, but I remember Arsenal in particular were looking at him, and he was looking like he was going to set the world alight as well. But goes to PSG and never really catches light. He does have some good moments. I remember Pastore, a few other PSG players way back when, before they were, the giants that they are now. They've kind of gone up and down, I say, because they didn't used to have Ronaldinho. If you remember way back when, Ronaldinho used to play for PSG. So they've always been a club of a certain stature. But Julian Draxler's just gone missing. Much like, the Iscos of this world. Players like this, they've just walked off the face of the earth. We haven't seen them for ages. So I wouldn't be completely against it. I mean, it's a decent price. I mean, it depends on where you think Draxler is and what he has to offer, how much he has to offer your team right now at 28. I don't know. I haven't seen him kick a ball in so long. He got too comfortable, you're saying, splashing the comments. Maybe he did. He's probably on a very nice wage at PSG. Definitely doesn't play very often. Maybe he did get too comfortable. And now you're kind of looking over his shoulder and thinking, where's my career gone? I really haven't heard about this guy in years. So he's just definitely disappeared. But if Newcastle were to take the gamble at 13 million, it's not the worst, decision in the world. I guess you could say take a punt on it, but I don't know if that's really going to work out. Is he got the motivation to come to the Premier League, to come to Newcastle and to really tear it up? He's going to have to work incredibly hard if he comes over here, because it's a whole nother ball game. When you go to Ligue 1, PSG, they do tend to dominate most of the games. You get a lot more of the ball. Newcastle is not going to be like that. Although Newcastle are very ambitious and they're trying to obviously make a step ahead in the table and trying to move up into European places, there's going to be games where they're not on the front foot, and this guy's going to have to work incredibly hard. And I don't know, does Eddie Howe want to take this gamble? Is it worth taking the gamble? You let me know in the comments down below. A lot of you don't seem to think he is worth taking the gamble on, even at 13 million, which is really cheap in this day and age. Draxler chose PSG over Liverpool, and where is he now? Is one of the comments there. I don't know what year that was that he made that decision, because it feels like he's been at PSG for a very, very long time. I can't even remember him not being at PSG, although he was at Schalke. Let's see. Skullfuggery's got too much ingredients in the kitchen, for sure. Yeah, let's see. Well, that player was quite injury prone, to be fair. I see your comment. All right, let's move on anyway. I think Draxler, we'll have to see if an official bid goes in, then fair enough. But that one did come out of nowhere for me. I wasn't expecting Newcastle to go for a player like that. So also Fulham, our noisy neighbours in southwest London, are working on a new goalkeeper. And I did see them linked with goalkeepers earlier on in the window, but I guess it never materialised, and that's why we're still where we are now. Talks are ongoing with Arsenal for Leno. Still no full agreement, and that's why there are also discussions with Barcelona for Neto. Now, Barcelona are definitely trying to get rid of Neto. That was on the list of outgoings with Braithwaite and a few others, where they just absolutely said, you need to go and find new clubs. We don't want you here, etc., etc. We need to clear the books. We need to have exits. And I think there are a few reports coming out that they do need to have exits if they are to bring in Jules Koundé. They're trying to tell him to wait and get rid of a few players first before they bring him in, because they are a little bit worried that they won't be able to register him. I see that comment, how you spoke about Firmino. Yeah, oh yes, I've spoke about Firmino for sure. We spoke a little bit about his role, and we spoke about the Juventus link there as well. So yeah, back onto Leno. I think with this one, again, Leno, the sky was there was no limit for him. This guy, I thought he was going to go on to be a top goalkeeper, but he just showed too many frailties in that Arsenal stint, where before Ramsdale came in, he didn't look commanding enough, making too many errors, and now he's found himself second choice to a goalkeeper that really actually got relegated before Arsenal signed him. So I don't know. Is Fulham too much of a step down? I'm quite surprised that, it's Fulham that he's getting linked with. I thought maybe a team in Germany, would be linked with him. Maybe he'd go back to Germany to a decent level, still European football. But Fulham, wow, that's quite a drop off. So if he ends up making that move, then I guess there's nowhere near the World Cup squad for him. I would assume. Is he in the World Cup squad at the moment, or not in the World Cup squad? But is he on the peripherals of the German squad? Leno wanted to stay in London. That would be a decent reason as well. Then your options become very, very few. So yeah, and then obviously Turner isn't ready for number 2. This comment says, okay. However, that's a however. I haven't seen anything of Turner. I'm not even sure, about Turner before he joined Arsenal. I'm not sure how good he is. So it's an interesting one. If you are willing to let Leno go, that shows that there must be a certain amount of trust. Oh yeah, listen, I'm not saying that, Ramsdale isn't a good goalkeeper. I'm just saying that Leno was given far more hype than Ramsdale ever was when Ramsdale came to Arsenal. Leno was still expected to be the guy. So it's quite surprising what's happened. But yeah, let's see. So Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp has also ruled out further new faces arriving at Anfield, whilst insisting that he will take his time with Darwin Núñez to adapt to English football. Wow, I don't know how Liverpool fans feel about that, because if I'm looking at this current Liverpool team and I'm looking at losing Mane, bringing in Núñez, yes, you've signed Carvalho. Is that enough to take the title off City? I don't think it is. Quite surprised that they're not going for anybody else. I'm trying to think of the positions, maybe midfield, you would say, why they're not going for someone. That's the area that Liverpool fans always talk to me about. Maybe over a Chamberlain, maybe you replace someone like that. It's quite surprising. And Liverpool fan in here is saying we need a midfielder. So it is a little bit surprising. I'm not going to lie that they're not going for a top midfielder just to try and, make that bridge and make that gap to Manchester City, just close it a little bit. Because Man City have made, they've done plenty of business. Calvin Phillips is going to be an improvement on the version of Fernandinho that we saw last year, which was really at the tail end of his career. Haaland is going to improve them. Alvarez is a very top talent as well. If Cucurella comes in at left back, that's an improvement. So, Manchester City have really made a lot of work to improve their team, and Liverpool, not so much. Is Darwin Núñez better than Sadio Mane? For me, definitely not. To expect him to be better in his first season would be a tall order. So you could argue that you've got a bit weaker there for sure. Mane is definitely a better player at this current moment. So it's a lot, man. It's a lot. And this comment says, it's not that surprising. We are waiting for Jude Bellingham. There's hardly a gap between us and City. 1 point isn't something that needs to be bridged. Well, like I said, I think City, with their current signings and with the signings you've made, I would say that the gap just got a little bit larger. If I'm comparing the windows, I would say that they've completely beaten you on the window front. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But every time you have a season where you compete but you don't win against Manchester City, it's just another season wasted in your peak as a club right now. You're at the strongest you've ever been in the Premier League, since it was renamed, and you're not really taking full advantage with the Premier League titles that you're picking up. You've only picked up one, and that's not really enough considering how good you actually have been. So I would be, as a Liverpool fan, a little bit concerned if that's all all the business you're going to do, for sure. It seems like you're willing to be the bridesmaid a little bit here in this decade of Premier League title wins with Manchester City, if it was to be a head-to-head competition. So I don't know. I wouldn't be too happy with that comment if I was you guys. But listen, we'll see. Let's see what last season nearly everyone predicted we wouldn't even get top four. I don't think anybody predicted Liverpool wouldn't get top four. If they did, then that was strange, because it was quite clear to me that Liverpool would get top four. So I'm not sure why that was even a discussion. Let's see any more comments here. City will do massive. I think City, there's a few tweaks coming to their team and you're not going to like them. That's all I have to say. There's a few tweaks coming to Manchester City this season and you're not going to like it. And one of those tweaks, I think, is Kevin De Bruyne getting much closer to goal, taking much more shots and getting a lot more goals. Because if you remember that game where he scored 4, he basically was playing up front, it felt like. And now that they've got Calvin Phillips, they have the option, and obviously they still have Gundogan, they have the option to go over pivot and just push Kevin De Bruyne further forward and take him out of that box-to-box midfielder role. And if they do that, and you have that right or left foot outside the box constantly taking shots, then it's not going to be good. So yeah, I think Manchester City are about to make a few adaptations, and that's weird. I didn't see this. I didn't see this personally, but listen, if you're saying it, then fair enough. But yeah, I think Man City are about to make a few adaptations that only make them more difficult to overpower in this title race. But we'll have to see. Osimhen as well. There's some news on him. This was a quote. I think this was put out by Fabrizio. I think I seen it this morning as well. But I've seen it a few times. Osimhen on his future. I'm very happy at Napoli and I feel very good here. This city makes me happy. and my inspirations are Harry Kane and Didier Drogba. So, I mean, Victor Osimhen is a player that he cost a lot of money for Napoli to bring in from Liga. So I didn't really expect any movement from him this summer, to be honest. I think this is one where if his contract starts to come down a couple more years, then you might see a move. He has been linked with Premier League teams in the past. He's a very good striker, to be honest. Kind of does a bit of everything. But at the same time, he's very expensive. Napoli, we know how they do business over the years. They make you pay up. They make you pay a serious price. So yeah, I'd expect him to have to pay. You say Gini to Crystal Palace rumors. I'm pretty sure I seen Gini was on his way to Roma. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's the last I heard of Gini Wijnaldum. There was that he was on his way to Roma. So I'm not sure where the Crystal Palace links came from. A lot of pundits wrote us off. Well, that was crazy of them to do so. But yeah, I think when it comes to Gini Wijnaldum, I'm pretty sure that I've seen he was on his way to Roma with Jose Mourinho. So to join up with Nemanja Matic and whatnot. So if that has fallen, then it's a strange one. Let's see. Gini to Crystal Palace, how the mighty have fallen. I mean, listen, sometimes you when you've got a good thing going, you don't walk away from it. I know the PSG project at the time was very exciting. You know, you're going in with Donnarumma, Sergio Ramos, who's barely kicked a ball for them, Hakimi, Messi. But at the same time, you know, what you was doing at Liverpool in that system, it was perfect for you. You know, you completely mirrored up with that team and it all made sense. And now it's all over the place. So now he's gone all over the place. It's not really making any sense anymore where he's going with his career. But we shall see. We shall see. Okay, let's move on. Listen, Atletico Madrid supporters launched an online protest after reports emerged that they were interested in Cristiano Ronaldo from Manchester United. I don't know how surprised I am about that, to be honest, because this is a player that has caused them much pain. As Atletico Madrid fans, of course, when he wore the Real Madrid shirt. Again, I just can't see Ronaldo in an Atletico Madrid shirt. It just doesn't make any sense. And I said it last show yesterday. If you're going there purely for Champions League football, fair enough, but you're probably not going to pick up a title and you're probably not going to pick up a Champions League. So what is really the point? I don't think it makes any sense. I personally feel like, as I said yesterday, Ronaldo will end up staying at Manchester United. I think it's a lot of talk. It's a lot of Mendes, his agent, pushing him out, really just testing the waters to see if anybody's interested. And the response they've got back has been pretty damning. So I don't think at this current moment he's going to be going anywhere, to be honest. And he'll end up staying at Manchester United. And it will all be ironed out. I don't know when he returns to training. I know Ten Hag is quite keen on keeping him, at least publicly he says he is. So he will have to stay. And it's as simple as that. This one was quite interesting as well, as we keep discussing the two GOATs. Laporta was saying that Messi's chapter at Barcelona is not over 11 months after the 35-year-old Argentinian playmaker ended his 21-year spell at the club and joined PSG. As president of Barcelona, I think I did what I had to do, but on a personal level, I am, and also as president, I think I owe him. So, listen, I don't know about this. You know, Barcelona, I don't know where the money's going to come from for this transfer. The whole reason why you let him go is because you didn't have any money in the first place. So it would be quite incredible if they was able to bring him back. But you let me know what you think in the comments. Should they really be going back in for Messi? Should they not be focusing on the new attackers that they've brought in? I mean, if you're going to have Ndombele, if you're going to have Rafinha, they're both playing on the right at the moment, it would seem. Ndombele can also play on the left. If you're playing these, if you're buying and paying for these players, surely you would focus on them. They're younger, look to the future. To go down the route of Messi again, I don't know. It's a strange one, but at the same time, it would be an iconic, comeback for him. Obviously, he never really wanted to leave Barcelona. He does look a bit weird at PSG. I'm not going to lie. It looks strange. It looks like, you've taken, somebody out of their natural habitat and put them, in some random place and asked them to fend for themselves, and they're currently struggling. So yeah, it's a strange one, but let's see. I mean, that would have to be next summer at the earliest, and Barcelona's financial situation. Listen, I understand to a degree how they're able to do what they're doing But at the same time, I don't think it's completely fair what they're doing. So it's a little bit all over the shop. And then on our last story, it would appear, is obviously Edu is admitting that Arsenal's interest in Rafinha, but he only wanted Barcelona. Arsenal's director Edu says, Deco always told me that Rafinha only wanted to join Barcelona. We have to be ready for new signings, he tells Sky Sports. I'm never ever going to sign a player which Arteta is not comfortable with. It's not Mikel's or Edu's sign, it's Arsenal signing. So, yeah, I think, listen, when it comes to this saga, we already knew the pecking order. It was Arsenal, then Chelsea, and at the top, it was Barcelona. Chelsea, in the end, did have personal terms agreed, but at the end of the day, he was still, always trying to go to Barcelona. And you can agree personal terms with multiple clubs. It doesn't mean that they're actually going to go to your club. So, yeah, Rafinha, and he scored an absolute belter, like we said, against Real Madrid there the other day in the El Clasico friendly. So it's not easy. It's not easy for us, but at least we can all, as Arsenal and Chelsea fans, just look upon it from a distance. At least he's not directly impacting us in this league. That's the only saving grace we have, because, if he was to join another club and then be scoring belters like that against us on a weekly, we'd have problems. You got to get mods on here, DR. You got to get mods. You got to get mods, guys. Hey, listen, I would have this pattern by this. They ain't not this. You know what? You can have a setting that says subscriber only mode, right? And that is a beautiful setting. Find it, guys, and get it on there. You don't want to see all this in the comments. It's crazy. It's absolutely wild. But yeah, you can get a subscriber only mode when you stream, and you just hit that setting, and bang, next thing you know, you ain't seeing none of this. So it's a quality setting. Now people are going to start asking to be modded. But listen, we're going to wrap up. It's been a great show. And yeah, listen, I'm looking forward to the season to start. I'm looking forward to the season to start. I wouldn't mind as well if we had a rule where the transfer window actually closed before the season started. Like, just on the day the season was about to start, the day before, deadline day. So we have it all done and we move on. Everybody has their squads. Much easier for fantasy football as well. Everybody has their squads. We know at the start of the season who is available, who is playing for what club. And then as soon as the season starts, it's done. But, that's a pipe dream. So, yeah, until next time, big up your damn selves. Make sure you smash up the icons, and we'll see you in a bit. Peace.